Hello everyone, welcome back to Marvelous Adventures of Danny Decomp Theory. I didn't cover the last episode because honestly there wasn't that much new information, but with the latest release I feel like there's enough to talk about to justify another video. So with that in mind, let's just jump right into this. Now the first thing I want to mention is the new murder revealed in episode 3 as Ben. This is a huge deal as it means there will be probably even more victims since, this is the cabin wagon killer who's supposed to be a serial killer. I do want to theorize quickly on who the next victims might be. Unless Happy is trying to subvert our expectations and be unconventional from a storytelling perspective, it will probably be someone who doesn't have much relevance. Ben was killed purely because he was a jerk, we'll get into the motives later, but Happy seems to really hate him, and that is why I think he's dead. So if Happy kills the characters she hates that are problematic to other characters, then we can only presume that Vanessa will be next. If I'm wrong and it's another good person like Zach, it will probably be someone like Rosabelle, as they do not have that much importance to the story, and she also mentions...
Oh, hello my good copper. I seem to be bumping into a lot of those today for some reason. Hopefully nothing shifty's not in the works.
What was that?
Oh, nothing. Just wee bit concerned, nothing more.
Which could be foreshadowing her death. So anyways, who's the killer? Well, I don't know, to be honest, so I'm just gonna say Lily. To start off, I would like to talk about Jackson, who I think is the red herring here. Jackson is clearly a big fan of the books, which lines up with the killer, and this would be a motive to kill Ben. Interestingly enough, Jackson is reading the same review in red with the same color that Zach was looking at before his death, although I really don't know what is up with the color of these books because it looks like Ben has a blue color, but then Penny and Zach and Jackson have this greenish color. It's weird. Anyways, this book was missing at the crime scene, and Jackson is interrupted before he can explain where the book came from.
That book was one of the recalls, correct?
Well, yeah, but...
But what?
Even then, he shows up at the crime scene of Zach unexpectedly. A killer always returns to the crime scene, and when he sees Zach's dead body, a 15-year-old seeing a dead body, he just dismisses it with an...
Oh.
I know that all the police here don't seem to be bothered by it, but that's normal for people who constantly work crime scenes to not really be affected by violence. For a 15-year-old, no, unless he already killed a lot of people before. So this is all really suspicious, right? Well, Happy has done stuff like this before with Gracie, and Jackson just seems too suspicious. Yes, a lot of James's hints were off of very subtle details, and these are some really subtle details too, but it just doesn't seem right. However, I still suspect him a little because it would make sense from a storytelling perspective if Happy wanted to have his more sympathetic villain. Anyways, for some random suspicious stuff, Ben mentions,
I know about that little secret you don't want anyone to know about this place.
which could confirm what I suspected before about the bookstore being a front or doing something illegal, leading to Lily saying,
Wait, how did you know about... You just had to call the police.
I'm sorry, Lily. I was just so worried when I saw the mess. I just panicked.
It's fine. Just don't worry about it. I guess we'll just have to hope they don't find about...
It is interesting how Penny becomes so aggressive here because it looks so much like Lily will be the red herring in this scene, so maybe Penny's the killer, but there isn't really that much evidence for that. So this means that Lily and Penny both had a great motive to kill Ben, especially after he insults the dead Zach, and from what Ben says about crushing Zach's reputation, this could have actually been why Zach was going broke in the first place. As he says,
The man nearly ruined my reputation with baseless slander!
Baseless, huh?
Completely. So, I took his pathetic little reputation and crushed it.
meaning that he and Ben probably got in a conflict, which led Zach to go down this dark path. Lily also says the line of,
I never thought Zach would stoop to thievery.
which means she could have also caused his downfall. Penny and Lily actually mention they used to go down to his library frequently, but they used to, and don't explain why they stopped going unless you count
I think we were a little too loud for his liking.
as the real reason. It is also interesting how Penny gives Lily an annoyed look while Lily looks nervous when talking about whether Randy actually locked up for the night. I should also mention Maxine, who is a very creepy person. She's full of energy and fun, but she's kind of off-putting and bizarre in some of her behavior. She's also at the very top of the smart ranking if you don't count the main characters, which means she's the smartest of the case 2 suspects. She also has the same color copy of Cabin Wagon Killer. Everything she does really just feels weird, like she has an ulterior motive. She even says,
And that grumpy gills over there is my partner in crime!
Rune is her partner in crime, which is probably an expression or she's hinting at something, and Rune looks nervous when she says this. I remember in the show Mr. Robot, there's this great scene where this creepy lady is trying to get information out of Elliot, and it's just so incredibly off-putting the way she acts. She reminds me exactly of that, which is why she's probably a red herring. Like, even her smear frames are way creepier than any of the other smear frames. Either Happy did not realize this while making it, or this is super intentional. She does this really creepy thing where she explains she doesn't like people stealing her stuff. Let's just say that Zach was stealing the Cabin Wagon books, and we know Maxine is obsessed with the Cabin Wagon books, and somehow she figures this out and kills him for it. Then after this, she invites Danny and Frank to her show, turns to Rune, and does this weird eye thing. Like, who does this? It's probably like a signal to Rune to murder them or something. Not only this, but Maxine is very good at magic. When Ben is about to die, he says, "Where did you? How did you?" and gets stabbed, so this could easily be Maxine. Also, Maxine literally flashes a knife beforehand, which seems to be what killed Ben.
Help!
Some sort of stabby thing. Maxine also pulls a trick which is appearing something in Danny's hand, like she might have appeared in Ben's apartment. I 100% think that will probably get a motive for Maxine wanting to kill Ben in the next episode, just to make her an even greater suspect. So with that Maxine theory that we'll be able to develop within the next episode, I would like to outline my entire Lily theory, which is probably the most likely theory so far. Basically, Lily was doing something illegal in her bookstore that Penny might know about. It would make sense if Penny and Randy don't know about this since they are both pretty gullible and far below them on the smart chain. Then this illegal information was on the receipt. And when Zach was taking them on accident, Lily acted on instinct and killed him. Then she blamed the Cabin Wagon Killer because the book was literally right there. If she knew the publishing company, then she would probably have access to red ink. She probably regretted this afterwards, knowing he was just trying to make money and not trying to expose her for her operation. And then when Ben mentions this secret to Lily, then completely digs his own grave when he insults Jack, she kills him for both of those reasons. Even then, Lily is also very high up on the smart list, so she would have the smarts to do this. However, I think this is a pretty good theory, and probably the most likely one, but I also don't think it's very likely because we're just not that far in yet, and, I don't really think so. Anyways, hopefully with the next episode, there will be a full answer, and we'll be able to make, the best theory ever, but until then, see ya.